What's up, everybody? So I'm back and I'm continuing to go over Richard Allen's case. Just like I did with Making a Murderer, I'm going back to the very beginning and I'm reading everything that was being printed in the press at the time it was actually happening, sort of like a live timeline of events, but a live timeline of events of something that happened a few years ago. Now remember, these horrible murders happened in February of 2017 and Richard Allen was not arrested until October of 2022. The first article we are going to go over today is from November 17th, 2022, and is from the Kokomo Tribune. It is an editorial. The headline reads, "Public Deserves Details of Arrest." The people of Delphi have been on edge for nearly 6 years since the brutal deaths of Libby German and Abby Williams. So the community desperately wanted some measure of closure when police announced on October 28th that Richard Allen of Delphi had been arrested and charged with the murders. But the sense of relief has been clouded by secrecy about the charges. The affidavit of probable cause, which would relate details justifying the arrest, was sealed by Carroll County Judge Benjamin Diener, who has since recused himself from the case. The Indiana Supreme Court has appointed Allen County Judge Fran Gull as special judge in the case. A court hearing is set for Tuesday to hear arguments from the Carroll County prosecutor, who had asked that the documents be sealed, and members of the public media who believe it should be unsealed. In its initial request to seal the document, the prosecutor cited Rule 6 of the Indiana Rules to Access Court Records. Rule 6 establishes that in extraordinary circumstances, a court record that otherwise would be publicly accessible may be excluded from the public access by a court if the record would create a significant risk of substantial harm or create prejudice in the case. The problem, of course, is that neither the prosecutor nor the court has presented the public with a compelling argument to defend sealing the affidavit. Hence, the public knows of no evidence that substantial risk of harm or extraordinary circumstances exist. The prosecutor could argue that the probable cause affidavit should remain sealed because of an ongoing investigation into the murders, which police suggested on October 28th at the press conference, but the arrest of a man accused of murders has already taken place and no evidence has been presented publicly that the killer had accomplices. Simply put, the ongoing investigation argument holds no more water than the Rule 6 contention. The judge should move decisively to correct this miscarriage of justice at the Tuesday hearing. Keeping the affidavit sealed would be unfair to the public and also to Allen, who was jailed for 5 days and had an arraignment hearing 3 days before the authorities made his arrest publicly known. He now sits in an Indiana Department of Correctional facility, despite only a sketchy public justification for his detention. Though attorneys for the news media will be putting forward arguments at Tuesday's hearing, this isn't just about the news media. Public records laws are designed to protect the accused and the public interest. In this case, they did neither. Meanwhile, the people of Delphi are still on edge, not knowing what led to Allen's arrest, why he was taken into custody. Was it based on an airtight case or flimsy evidence? And the other article from the same paper and date, Logan attorney to represent man accused of Delphi murders. Attorney Brad Rozzi is one of 2 lawyers appointed by the court to represent Delphi murder suspect Richard Allen. Andrew J. Baldwin of the firm Baldwin, Perry, and KAMISH in Franklin will be representing Allen according to court documents. Rozzi is listed as counsel and Baldwin co-counsel. A court order was signed Monday by Special Judge Francis Gull, and then the rest of that article continues to go over what we just read. The next article is from November 23rd, 2022. Judge weighs whether to unseal records in teen girl's killing. An Indiana judge said Tuesday that she will decide soon whether to unseal court records that led to a man's arrest in the 2017 killings of 2 teenage girls, while a prosecutor urged the court to keep the documents sealed because others could be involved in the case. The judge said she'd decide the matter in due haste after she listened to arguments from attorneys for Richard Allen and the county prosecutor. The judge acknowledged that there is great public interest in the case against the Delphi, Indiana man who was arrested last month and charged with 2 counts of murder in the deaths of Libby German and Abby Williams. A probable cause affidavit charging information against Allen have not been publicly released since they were sealed last month at the request of the prosecutor. The prosecutor said during Tuesday's hearing that authorities have a good reason to believe Allen is not the only person connected to the killings. That's very interesting that they think that more people were involved in the killing, because as we know, Richard Allen is the only person that sits in prison for this crime. An Allen County judge assigned to the case, Gull, after a judge in Carroll County, where Delphi is located, recused himself, held Tuesday's hearing in Delphi to determine whether the documents should be made public. She set a February 17th bail hearing for Allen, whose attorneys on Monday filed a petition to set bond so he might be released before the trial. John McGauley, spokesman for Gull, said the judge cannot comment further on the case because it is ongoing and that there is no timeline for when she might decide whether to release the documents. Andrew Baldwin, an attorney for Allen, said after the hearing that our client is the wrong guy. Standing outside the courtroom, he said the sealed probable cause affidavit is flimsy and that you'd expect more than what I saw. Baldwin said Allen has professed his innocence to him. The county prosecutor's office and the county clerk's office did not immediately reply to requests for additional information. On October 31st, authorities announced the arrest of Allen, who lives in Delphi, works at a pharmacy in the city of roughly 3,000 people. And then it just goes over the things we already know in the case. The next article we're going to go over is from November 30th, 2022. And it states records. Bullet found near Delphi teens' bodies came from suspect. This is the bullet that was unfired that was found next to the body that they say match Richard Allen's gun. I went over this in a little bit more detail in a previous video about how some people say that it's not possible to match up a unfired bullet with the gun the way they did it, at least. An unspent bullet found between the bodies of two teenage girls slain in 2017 had been cycled through a pistol owned by the suspect in their deaths, according to court documents. An Indiana judge ordered released Tuesday. Court records were sealed last month at the request of the local prosecutor after Richard Allen was arrested on October 28th and charged with the murders. The redacted probable cause affidavit released Tuesday states investigators seized Richard Allen's .40 caliber pistol during an October 13th search of his home. Testing determined an unspent bullet found within 2 feet of one of the girls' bodies had been cycled through Allen's pistol. Investigators determined Allen had purchased that gun in 2001. Allen said in an October 26 interview with police that he had never allowed anyone to borrow the gun, according to the affidavit. Requests from the public and the media for additional information in the case were granted Tuesday by the judge. The killings have haunted Delphi, a northwestern Indiana city of about 3,000, where Allen lived and worked at a local CVS store. The judge wrote that the public interest is not served by prohibiting access to the documents and that witness safety and Allen's personal information could be protected by redacting some parts of the records. Several news organizations, including the Associated Press, had filed a brief with the court on November 21st, urging Gull to unseal the affidavit and charging information that detail the evidence authorities have linking Richard Allen to the killings. The affidavit says investigators reviewing prior tips found Allen had been interviewed by an officer in 2017, and at the time Allen said on February 13th, 2017, the day the girls went missing, he was walking on the trail when he saw 3 females at the bridge called the Freedom Bridge, but did not speak to them. He told the officer as he walked from that bridge to the Monroe High Bridge, an abandoned railroad bridge, he did not see anyone, but that he was watching a stock ticketer on his phone as he walked. Allen was interviewed again by investigators on October 13th. Now this is 5 years later, almost 6, and repeated that he had seen juvenile girls during his walk. He said he walked across the bridge's first platform, then walked back, sat on a bench on the trail, and then left. A relative had dropped off Liberty and Abigail, known as Libby and Abby, at a trail near the bridge close to their hometown, Delphi, which is about 60 miles northwest of Indianapolis. Hours later, the girls failed to show up at their pickup spot, and the next day their bodies were found in a rugged area near the trail. According to the affidavit, Allen said he had never been to the location where the unspent bullet was found between the girls' bodies, that he did not know the owner of that property, and had no explanation as to why a round cycled through his firearm would be at that location. The document redacted the names of the witnesses, including 3 juveniles who said that they were on the trail on February 13th and saw a male walking toward the bridge who was kind of creepy. One of the juveniles said she said hi to the male, but he just glared at them. Another witness told police she was traveling along a Carroll County road the day she saw a man walking away from the bridge wearing clothes that looked muddy and bloody. He appeared to have been in a fight, the witnesses said. Before Tuesday, state police had revealed details about the investigation into the 2017 killings. The deaths of Libby and Abby were ruled homicides, but police had never disclosed how they died or what evidence they gathered. The probable cause affidavit does not state how the girls died. Within days of the killings, investigators released 2 grainy photos of a suspect walking on the abandoned railroad bridge and an audio recording of a man believed to say "down the hill." Authorities also released an initial sketch of the suspected killer in July 2017 and another in April 2019 based on a cell phone video recorded by Libby showing a suspect on the bridge. The affidavit states investigators believe Allen was the man seen on the bridge. As the male subject approaches victims 1 and 2, one of the victims mentions gun near the end of the video. A male is heard telling the girls, "Guys down the hill." The affidavit states the girls then began to proceed down the hill, and the video ends. It adds the victims were forced down the hill by Richard Allen to the location where they were murdered. Early Tuesday, Allen's attorneys filed a motion to relocate the case out of Carroll County, arguing it would be difficult to form an impartial jury because of the intense attention surrounding the case and because the county is so small. Andrew Baldwin, an attorney for Richard Allen, said last week the then sealed affidavit was flimsy and that our client is the wrong guy. Baldwin's office said he would not comment Tuesday in a response left by the Associated Press. So that's what we're going to go over today. Whoever, Richard Allen is the guy in jail for this, did he just randomly show up that day and decide this is the day I'm going to kill 2 teenage girls? Like, why then? Because it's not like he has done this before. There's no evidence that he had done this before. Like, did he just randomly come upon them? Was he following them for some time and nobody knows? It's just so random and weird. Was he out looking for someone to kill? And if he was, he saw other people first. Why did he let them go and then kill the other 2? The whole thing is strange and tragic and random. It doesn't make any sense why he just randomly picked, or whoever did it. Like I said, Richard Allen is the guy guilty. He's in jail for this, so we'll say Richard Allen. Why did he go out and commit these crimes just randomly one day in February? Today's today. Had he been working up to it? Like, what led to Richard Allen or whoever to commit these murders? Just so tragic. But what do you think? Do you think Richard Allen is the guy? Let me know. Leave some comments below. I hope you're having a good day, and I will see you again soon.